diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon and stuff. And stuff. Sorry. Hopefully nobody's here. Okay, good. Hopefully this is not another lonely one, but I'm sure we get some people this time. I think when I go live in the morning, it just confuses people. You know, there's so much that needs to happen from end to end when I do this stuff, and it's almost like it's out of control. So today we're going to be talking about, we are actually going to be doing the daily reflection, Solace for Confusion. And we're going to be in the 12 by 12, page 28. Page 28. This is the 12 by 12, or better known as the 12 Steps and Traditions. Usually it has a cover, but I use mine a lot. This is one of the main books. I use this and the big book to sponsor people. What I love about the 12 by 12 is it goes in depth into the step, and your sponsees can really, really see themselves in it when they do that. Okay, let's just do that. Page 28. We're going to be in step 2. All right, at the 3-minute mark. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. Not sure why I'm doing these anymore. I'm not. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching live or the rewatch. I just don't understand, after doing this for 4.5 years consistently, that number says 0. All right. So consider the flight of those who once had faith but have lost it. There will be those who have drifted into indifference, those filled with self-sufficiency, who have cut themselves off, those who have become prejudiced against religion, and those who are downright defiant because God has failed to fulfill their demands. Can AA experience tell all these they may still find a way that works? Absolutely we can. Good then. Open the window for you since you're the only person that showed up for the trudge. There you go. There you go. Better take it while you can. Hi, Patricia. Good to see you. Let's go get them. There you go. No, jump. There you go. All right. Oh, that fell off. That sucks. That was my light. Oh, well, I just scared the crap out of my cat. All right. I'm only a paragraph in, so I'm going to restart. So we're on page 28 in the 12 by 12, and I'm glad you showed up because I was getting lonely. All right. Consider the next flight of those who once had faith but have lost it. There will be those who have drifted into indifference, those filled with self-sufficiency have cut themselves off, those who have become prejudiced against religion, and those who are downright defiant because God has failed to fulfill their demands. Can AA experience tell all these that they may still find a faith that works? Sometimes AA comes harder to those who have lost or rejected faith than those who had never had any faith at all, for they have tried faith and found it wanting. Yeah. Um, so my parents, I grew up in Utah, and if you live in Utah back in the 70s, you kind of had to go to church. If you were younger, you had to go to church, and we had to go on Wednesdays and Sundays. Right? My parents were too religion-y. They didn't talk about anything like that at home, faith-based or anything like that. And so I didn't grow up with a definition of God. I don't remember much at church, being at church. I mean, I remember going, but not really the teachings. It was hard for me to focus. I did get really good at my primary colors, though. So, but in my experience, people that I have had that, like people that have been pastors, man, this could be very, very hard for them. This can be a lot tougher for them. Um, you know, the God issue is probably the biggest thing in the 12-step group, any 12-step group, not just AA, but and that would include things like Wellbriety and these other places too. Give me a second, I gotta do a little bit of work here. Gotta keep the cats happy, right? Because if you keep your cats happy, then they won't pee on your face when you're sleeping. See? So when I moved in with my brother-in-law, he's like, "Man, we don't have mice anymore." I'm like, "Yeah, you got 3 cats in the house, dumbass." So they tend to find it a little bit more wanting, right? But we all have this dilemma, and what we have is a spirit. Each one of us has what's called a spiritual malady, and it is that spiritual malady that creates your bottom, right? The closer you were to God, probably a better chance of you landing in AA sooner. Okay. Or it may keep you away from AA for longer because you don't understand what we're saying. You know, we didn't take the time to actually sit down and listen to what these people were actually saying. And they've tried, since both ways have proved bitterly disappointing, they have concluded there is no place whatever for them to go. The roadblocks of indifference, self-fancied sufficiency, or indifference, fancied self-sufficiency, prejudice, and defiance often prove more solid and formidable for these people than any erected by the unconvinced agnostics or even the militant atheist. Religion says the existence of God can be proved. The agnostic says it can't be proved. And the atheist claims proof of the non-existence of God. Obviously, the dilemma of the wanderer from faith is that of profound confusion. He thinks himself lost to any comfort of any conviction at all. He cannot attain in even the smallest degree of assurance of the believer, the agnostics, or the atheist. He is the bewildered one. Ooh, yeah. That would be a massive confusion. All your education kind of going out the window. Not going out the window, right? Because we are a group of people who say you can pick whatever higher power you want. Okay? We're not as rigid. And it works very, very well for us. So when we say that to somebody who is deep in their own religion, that could be tough for them. Okay? I wish I could speak more on it, but I don't have any experience in that. My only real experience is working with others, listening to other people that have gone through it. So I'm more or less repeating what they're saying, right? But I do know that they did find their way. How do I know? Because they're in AA meetings talking about it. Yeah, or like Charlie Brown's teachers, wah, 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 wah. Yeah, it's hard to hear in those first couple days. It is. You have a lot going on. You're detoxing off of alcohol. You're beat up, man. You haven't slept in months, you know. So any number of AAs can say the drifter, yes, we were diverted from our childhood faith too. The overconfidence of youth was too much for us. Of course, we were glad that good home and religious training had given us certain values. We were still sure we ought to be fairly honest, tolerant, and just, that we ought to be ambitious and hardworking. We became convinced that such simple rules of fair play and decency would be enough. As material success founded upon no more than these ordinary attributes began to come to us, we felt we were winning at the game of life. I never went through the material success thing when I was drinking. I never had enough money. I hung around a lot of people with money, but I never had any money. At one point, I would interview local bands and put them on radio, right? I go to their studio and record and interview them. They play a song or two live for us. And that went for a lot of day drinking. You ever gone to a band practice at 9 o'clock in the morning and started doing tequila shots? I have. And then I'd go home to my apartment, which had no power. I had an extension cord plugged into the outside, running it in. Couldn't afford it. So, but I had plenty of money for alcohol. Yeah. Well, I couldn't do that editing unless I was drunk, Whew. All right. I used to act like I was. This was exhilarating and it made us happy. Why should we be bothered with the theological abstractions and religious duties, or with the state of our souls here or hereafter? The here and now was good enough for us. The will to win would carry us through, but then alcohol began to have its way with us. Finally, when all of our scorecards read 0, we saw that one more strike would put us out of the game forever. We had to look for our lost faith. It was in AA that we rediscovered it, and so can you. Yeah. My relationship with God has changed a lot. Okay. And why has that happened? That has happened because I have changed a lot. Okay. So really, my relationship didn't really change. It was me who changed. I had to make changes in my life because I came to the realization that every single thing that I do in my life during my day, everything that I do affects everyone around me. And I want that effect to at least be decent or good, and I do try. And I'm going to say I fall short quite often. Okay. Like sometimes I can get kind of bossy. My wife chuckled. I knew she was listening. Now, why are we laughing at that? We're laughing at it because we both know it. Okay. It's not new news in this house. Okay. And then what I usually do after that is I feel bad and then I tend to over explain myself. Because really and I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm looking for the answer. Because I don't want to walk away I don't want to walk away from any conversation with contention still going on. No, I would rather clear up that contention with that person and move on with my day, no matter who it is. That's my preference. And I'd much rather have peace than creating new problems for myself anymore, right? So let's see what the Reflections has to say about this. The concept of God was one that I struggled with during my early years of sobriety. The images that came to me, conjured from my past, were heavy with fear, rejection, and condemnation. Then I heard my friend's image of a higher power. As a boy, he had been allowed a litter of puppies, provided that he assumed responsible for their care. Each morning, he would find the unavoidable byproducts of the puppies on the kitchen floor. Talking byproducts, you know something's coming up. Despite frustration, Ed said he couldn't get angry because that's the nature of puppies. It's what they do. Like my cats right now. They think they want outside, but they don't. What are we looking at? Like, Dad, look, leaves. They're moving. Look. All right. Ed felt God viewed our defects and shortcomings with a similar understanding and warmth. Yeah. So when I poop on the floor, is what puppies do. I have often found solace from my personal confusion in Ed's calming concept of God. Yeah. You know, I have a sponsee that he decided that his higher power was love. And he's an astute guy. I really enjoy working with him because he sets himself up to succeed. Okay. I gave him directions on the 4-step and he's doing it a little different, which is fine. Okay. But he's doing it. But the way he's doing it is getting down to causes and conditions. I can't argue with that. That shit's neat. While I was reading, I figured out what was going on with me with the Daily Trudges. And I just, why it's upsetting me. The Daily Trudge is upsetting me. And it's because I've had a lot of people come through say, Dion, I want to help. Dion, can we do this? And I get them to a place and things like that. And then they just disappear on me. And I don't want that happening anymore. So when people don't show up for this, it starts to hurt because it makes me wonder. This morning, and this is serious stuff. I don't want to be wasting my time, you know? And I'm certainly not saying my friends are a waste of time because they're not. A lot of times I come on here just to see a few of my friends, like Patricia. Thank you for being here. You know, but there's something to be said about consistency. And if you get what you want from me, but then say things like, you know, Dion, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done it. You know, then don't say things like that to me. Okay. If you're not going to stick around, don't make a connection to my heart because you'll hurt me. Okay. And then I will do a quick 10-step on you, and then I probably won't talk to you again. Because those are my boundaries, right? So I have a fear. It's a fear of abandonment, friends. Just like, you know, I'm not any different from anybody else. No. I'm different in my own place, if that makes sense, right? But I don't set out to be terminally unique or anything like that. But, you know, after 53 years of living on this earth, I have quite a lot of knowledge. And, you know, I think it's great that people move on. Okay, so don't get me wrong. But then if I write you and say, hey, we need to catch up soon, write me back. Call me. I don't care that it's been a few months. Call me. What, you're too busy for me now? Huh? Well, I was a priority when you were going through your bullshit. What happened? And no, I'm not expecting anything in return as far as AA goes. Okay. But gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to even make and keep friends and what friendship is about. So when people just up and leave, thanks for the information. That's kind of how it feels. I'm glad that people move on and do those things, but doesn't mean you can't stop by here once a week and say hi. So maybe I need to change my intentions when it comes to this, because I have found that I'm not going to end the Daily Trudge. My gut will not let me, and that's God. So at the same time, I probably shouldn't come on as much as I do. So I can't do that. I would say maybe I need to just schedule it so it's the same time every day, but that's not going to work in my life. It just isn't. I wake up at different times and I do this. After I pray and stuff, this is the next thing that I do, usually, unless I have a sponsee or a meeting. So, all right. Well, and Patricia, thanks for, it just occurred to me. So I brought it up. And Patricia, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. There are 3 or 4 people that listen to me consistently, and I know I'm helping them out. And that helps me, because the whole point to do this is helping at least one person. So when that says 0, that means I feel like I'm not helping anybody. And it doesn't tell me how many people watch the rewatch and shit like that. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you all. Peace out. I love the earth in there. Love the earth in there. That's right. Why? Because we're all children of God. I love you guys and gals. Peace out. And have